And I hope he got some, because stage 2 takes the tour straight off the flat and into the mountains. 156 kilometres, starting out from yesterday's Finnish town of Bastia and turning almost immediately in from the coast towards the 2/3 of Corsica that is mountain. 4 climbs on the route, the toughest of them the second category Col de Vitsavona, just over 1100 metres. That should be enough to dislodge Marcel Kittel from the main field, and the little kick of the Côte de Solario, 12 kilometres from the finish, should stop him getting back on. So, all things being equal, which of course they're not at the Tour, we should have a new leader by the time the race reaches Ajaccio.
As we look down from the helicopters now, it's just the lone Frenchman, Cyril Gauthier, and that's not the place to run at that moment in time, as the riders just look a little bit stunned by that as they all come back together. Well, that's a crazy move. That looks like Peter Sagan there as he's up at the front looking across thinking, what on earth are you doing?
Looking at the flags here, that's quite a strong wind rising at 20 kilometres an hour.
Which is 12 miles an hour. That's a pretty tough wind for him to be riding into towards the finish. He's slightly off his shoulder at the moment, so still chance to split this field up here. Only 8 kilometres or 5 miles left to race.
I would guess, Phil, that it's all going to come back together, because I cannot believe that one man on his own is going to survive off the front end of this charging main field. We are now approaching speeds very close to 40 miles an hour on the run in towards the finish. We're inside of 5 miles to go. His advantage just 6 seconds. This is a man who has been to the Tour de France before. He rode back in 2010 and 11. But at the moment, he's trying to create a little bit of a surprise. But look at the line of riders. The gaps are starting to appear. It's pretty much all over now, bar the shouting.
Well, they've caught him at just on 7 kilometres from the finish as they all come back together. And there's the counter-attack by Sylvain Chavanel, and that is Mark Cavendish's team.
It looks to me like that was Nicky Terpstra, actually. They've both got red, white and blue bands, and this is the man who attacked on the run-in towards the finish yesterday, the big Dutchman.
No, they're saying it's Chavanel as he starts the move. He's settled into the move well. We'll see when we catch his number, as he looks to me as though they are the Dutch colours on him rather than the French colours, but we'll see when he sat up anyway, as they all come back together again. But he wants this little group to start working. As we said earlier, small group could slip the field.
Well, they've got 6, 7 riders now starting to form at the front, but who's going to try and control the front end of the main field? Well, it's the team of Peter Sagan, obviously, the lime green jerseys of Cannondale.
He's got control again at the front, as these riders now, 6 of them, try to get it together, and 6 different teams as well. That would be interesting. That's 6 teams that won't be chasing back there. Well, that's a little bit of an encouraging move, that, rather than a hand-sling, so there'll be no penalty for that.
Cannondale getting themselves organised. Orica Green Edge up there into 3rd position, but nobody really wants to help her. There's a dog coming into the road here. I hope somebody can get him out of the way, because this is very, very dangerous. Well, fortunately the dog got out of the way, but that could have been a serious incident. There 4 kilometres to go now. The main field getting themselves organised, but the gap there is starting to stretch itself out just a little bit. 10 seconds is the advantage. Bakelants is the rider there for Team Radio Shack. Scrambling now, everybody thinking about the possibility of winning themselves a stage, but if they don't get themselves organised in the main field, these guys are going to steal the advantage here this afternoon. And bear in mind, every one of these riders started the day in exactly the same time. 50 kilometres an hour is the average speed. Sylvain Chavanel, he's had a great season so far this year, and it's his birthday.
A few deep breaths, it all happens on the Tour de France, Paul, doesn't it? As Chavanel tries to get a birthday present, the dog tries to bring the race down.
Well, fortunately, the dog realised how quickly those guys were coming at him and scuttled into the side of the road there, but that's Bakelants wrinkling his wrist there. Maury is the rider in the pink jersey coming forward. Juan Antonio Fletcher. Hard to pick a winner from this group. You know, Sylvain Chavanel won a stage of Paris-Nice in the early part of this year in the sprint, so he must be wondering whether it's going to be a big birthday present for him. That's a big gap there, looking down, Phil.
Well, it is, and you know, there's a lot of firepower being lost now, because some of the Cannondale riders have been dropped in this chase, so Sagan is going to have to just work it out what he can do for himself here. They're now saying this is Irizar from Radio Shack up in the breakaway rather than Jan Bakelants.
Well, the reason Garmin have come to the front there, Phil, is because if they can get their man David Miller in a good position at the front end of the peloton, he would be the new yellow jersey at the end of the day. But if this breakaway succeeds off the front, it's one of those 6 guys in that leading group of 6 who will be the new yellow jersey holder tonight.
6 riders clear, 2.5 kilometres to go, and they are working so well together now that it's going to be difficult to bridge the gap. The firepower of Cannondale has been dampened down because they've lost riders in this race as they try now to desperately close this down. And rider Hejerdal of Garmin Sharp, who said he's fed up of falling off the bike, he crashed again yesterday, is trying to close this gap down for Garmin.
Well, Sylvain Chavanel, look at that face on the man at the front in the pale blue jersey there. He realizes this is one of those special chances you get during a career. They're inside of 2 kilometers, 1.5 miles to go to the finish line as they start the sweeping bends. But now's not the time to stop cooperating. You've got 10 seconds, but 10 seconds is nothing at speeds like this. It's down to 8 seconds advantage now.
1.8 kilometres, 10-second the gap. The bunch are throwing everything they've got at that breakaway now. We always said a single man couldn't survive, a small group could.
Up into 6th position in the main field. I saw the shadow of the Slovakian champion Peter Sagan sitting there, calm and collected as he could be, hoping for the moment that this group would come together. It's now down to 6 seconds the advantage as Bakelants now starts to make the move.
I think it's Marco Irizar who's got into the group. They've corrected it, but either way, he's on Radio Shack, and it won't matter, I don't think, because although he's making his move to go at 1.4 kilometres, it could still be a sprint from this group. Chavanel looks over his shoulders. The breakaway in total disarray. What strength they've got left, they've got to use now. And as we look here, you know, this is definitely Jan Bakelants here. The caption was wrong, and Bakelants is taking his moment. He's had to go at 1 kilometre from the finish now. The peloton, 10 seconds the spread. The rest will be caught, but the big question is, will the man who has never won a professional bicycle race since he turned pro steal the stage? And if there is a time gap, he will pull on the yellow jersey tonight. Jan Bakelants is rocking and rolling here. I think they've got the rest. The sprinters aren't going to be given a chance to organise the chase here. Peter Sagan is definitely there. They sweep up the chasers. It's one versus the rest now, but have they left it too late? Because they're going to come off the next sprint. Bakelants, well, he shouldn't look over his shoulder now because he's going to try and survive this to the line. He can now see the finishing line. The gap is there. The sprinters are beginning to organise themselves, but I think they've left it too late. Who is there left to bring them to the line now? 300 metres to go. Jan Bakelants, a week ago, finishing 3rd in the Belgian National Championships. Here it is, the next Sunday. He's about to win his first bicycle race. Sagan in the lime green hits the front, but it's all too late. Jan Bakelants is going to win the stage, and if there is a time gap, he will win the yellow jersey, and for my money, that is a 1 second gap. Jan Bakelants gets his first ever pro victory and robs Peter Sagan of a stage victory now. What an incredible finish. Well, we always said a small group escaping had a chance on the run-in. The rest were caught, but Bakelants gets the victory.
Yes, he does. Jan Bakelants by a single second from the chasing field, which was led in by Peter Sagan. Mikhail Kwiatkowski was second in the bunch, 3rd overall, ahead of Davide Cimolai, Advel Boersenhagen, Julien Simon and Francesco Gavazzi. All the contenders for overall victory finished in that group on the same time. So did David Miller, who was the highest placed rider in the group, would have taken the jersey if only the sprint hadn't come up a second short of catching Bakelants.
Kind of went through my head that I was virtual yellow jersey. I was yellow jersey on the road effectively. But I think we were just all exhausted at the end. Me in particular, I couldn't get out of the saddle. I was cramping up, although I still am cramping, hence why I'm not moving. But yeah, it's a bit disappointing, but at the same, I'm very satisfied. This isn't where I expected to be, so we'll see how tomorrow goes.
Now, today was tomorrow for Marcel Kittel, the day after he'd taken the yellow jersey and knew he was going to lose it. He came in 17.5 minutes down alongside the injured Tony Martin in a large group that also included Mark Cavendish, and right at the back, Ian Stannard and Geraint Thomas, who we believe has had to go back to hospital this evening. Now, Marcel Kittel gets the considerable consolation of swapping into the green jersey now, as he still leads the points competition, although Peter Sagan closed to within 4 today. Alexander Kristoff is third. Mark Cavendish is already 30 points down, although of course that's less than a stage win. Pierre Rolland took the lead in the King of the Mountains, tied on points with Blal Kadri, but since he led over the toughest climb, the second category one, he gets the jersey. But the jersey of jerseys is on the shoulders tonight of Jan Bakelants, and sounds as though it's likely to stay there through the night.
Well done, sir. Congratulations.
Thank you,
fantastic.
sir.
Well, absolutely. You are sir now because you were in the...
You're from England?
Yeah, we're from England. Yeah, we're
so
polite.
Now the Queen going to give me the title.
The Queen is going to give you the title. We have Sir Bradley Wiggins.
Yeah,
maybe we have
and
Sir
Jan
Jan.
Bakelants. Sounds good now.
It sounds good. I'll tell you another thing that sounds good. If you woke up this morning and had breakfast and someone said to you, you'll win today's stage and you'll be wearing the yellow jersey on the Tour de France, what would you have said to them?
I say, you're mad. Shut up. Go away.
It's happened. It's happened.
Say this once again, I punch you in the face, I would say in the morning. But now I'm here in this incredibly beautiful jersey. And what happens tomorrow, we see tomorrow. But tonight, I dress in this to sleep.
So here's how the overall standings look after stage 2. Jan Bakelants leads the Tour de France by a single second from David Miller. Julien Simon is third, Daryl Impey fourth, then it's Edvald Boasson-Hagen, Simon Gerrans, Michal Kwiatkowski and Sergei Lagutin. In all, 92 riders are a second behind Bakelants, including all the big favourites. Geraint Thomas is not in that group. He's 198th of 198 and ailing. Not so his team leader, though. He was clearly feeling good enough to stretch his legs and unnerve his rivals today on the final climb.
Yeah, that little climb, about 10 k's from the finish, I knew the descent was quite tricky and dangerous. I was on the front with Richie. Richie had kept me at the front there, and I thought might be a good time just to push on a little bit, get ahead, just take the descent at my own pace and stay out of trouble, really.
Staying out of trouble put a lot of other people in some difficulty.
Well, it's always good to keep people on their toes at the same time, so it's good.